What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on Caitlin Clark, right, and the development or the ways that I think that Caitlin Clark needs to develop to be the great basketball player that people think that she's going to be. Um, and what she needs to add to her game, right? And in my opinion, all great basketball players have like a go-to shot. And that go-to shot, that money shot, is the shot where as though when the game is close and you going back and forth with another team and you need baskets almost every time down the court. There's a shot that the great basketball players have that that allows them to do that. And so like Michael Jordan had that, he had the turnaround jumper. Um, and the fade, and he used to fade away with that. Kobe Bryant, the same thing. He had the turnaround and the fade away. Magic Johnson had like that running sky hook, or the half hook. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had the sky hook, and those kind of shots when the game is close, you get, I remember the Lakers used to just get the ball to Kareem in the low post and just let him shoot that sky hook. And that's how that really helped them to get over the top and win those championships. Who else? Even people really don't even think about like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan, that bank shot, he had a bank shot that he would hit off the glass, for the Spurs. And to shoot when you shoot the ball off the backboard and bank it in, that is like such a high percentage shot. That's a high percentage shot. And was almost unstoppable once Tim Duncan got to like his spot on the floor where he could turn around and hit that shot. It was just unstoppable. Even Shaq, it was hard for Shaq to defend Tim Duncan when Tim Duncan was shooting that shot. And so that's why I say that all great basketball players need a money shot. I remember following the WNBA from the start, right? And you had Cynthia Cooper. Cynthia Cooper had this shot. It was like a running jumper. She would come off of a pick, and then she would get the ball and she would shoot like a running jumper. I don't even see people do that no more. I used to do it when I was young because what that running jumper is a mid-range shot. You're not going all the way to the goal, to the rim with it, right? You just pulling up and you're shooting a running jumper because what the running jumper does is it catches the defender off guard. So usually you go to a spot, you stop on a dime and you elevate, right? That's your jump shot. But if you and when you shoot that jump shot, that gives the defender time to react to that move that you just made. So when they see you plant and you get ready to go up, then they can jump and affect your shot. But if you can shoot that running jumper on the run like Cynthia Cooper used to shoot, the defender can't react to that. It's so much harder to react to that. And that's what helped Cynthia Cooper win those 4 championships when they was with the Comets. And so I say that to say that Caitlin Clark will like her logo threes, that's cool and that's good and everything. But number one, the 3-pointer is not always, that shot not gonna always be there. She's not gonna always be on, and it's a lower percentage shot. Then on top of that, number two, the WNBA is just so physical. In my opinion, the WNBA is more physical than the NBA. So Steph Curry, he can do all that and then fade, but these women are beating Caitlin Clark up from, like throughout the whole game. And so to expect her to be able to knock down like a logo three at the end of the game when she's been getting beat up throughout the game, it's gonna be hard. it's really gonna be hard. That's why I say you need like a go-to shot in that mid-range area that's going to make you a consistent scorer. And then that will open up like her that'll open up her three-pointers like later in the game. But she won't be able to like imitate Steph Curry in the WNBA because they are allowing these young ladies in the WNBA just to play so much more physical than in the NBA. Like Steph Curry would not have been able to score the way he do, like if he'd have played back in the 80s and the 90s. He just wouldn't because the game was too physical. One example of that is like Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller can shoot, in my opinion, he's just as good a shooter as Steph Curry, right? But those games were so physical, it was, and he has some, don't get me wrong, he has some big shots against New York. What he scored like 9 points in like 6 seconds or something like that. But he don't have a championship, and it's hard to win championships when you're playing against defenses that are so physical. Unless you can make them pay, and you can, you got a mid-range shot or a go-to shot like some of the players that I just named. Caitlin Clark is going to really find it hard to have like the kind of success that her fan base is wanting her to have at that level. It's just going to really, really be tough. So I would suggest to Caitlin Clark for her to develop, like, even she need a teardrop, like like a lot of guards develop like that teardrop jumper. They just throw it with a high arc on it, and it goes over the defender. She needs to develop one of those, or like I said, a running jumper. Or because if like I said, if she goes and she try to stop on a dime in the lane and pull up, then that'll give the defender an opportunity to defend that shot, put some pressure on her and stuff like that. But that's what made Cynthia Cooper so hard to guard, man. Cause and people don't even mention that shot that Cynthia Cooper used to shoot, that running jumper. They don't even bring that up, and if Caitlin Clark want to be great like that, she's gonna have to have a move that is like a move that make people say, "Well, ain't nothing I can do to defend that." And all great basketball players have that. Mike, Kobe, um, Magic had it. Who else had it? Uh, Kareem, Tim Duncan. People, and that mainly people who won multiple championships. And so, like Isaiah didn't really have. He didn't. Isaiah was a dynamic guard, and their team was based on defense. But Isaiah didn't even have like a money shot. He was a really, really good shooter and can score on almost anybody. But at times, though, Isaiah didn't have. He just didn't have what Magic and all those guys had. Bird, even Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird, he was versatile enough where as though, and he had that mid-range shot. Larry Bird really didn't shoot a whole lot of three-pointers. He shot jumpers, but not the three-pointers like what you see today. But even Larry Bird, like he could either post you up depending on what the defender or what the defense was giving him at that time. Larry Bird could exploit that defense. But I don't think that right now Caitlin Clark don't have a go-to shot. And really, the fact that she don't have that in between game, I think is really the reason why not just Caitlin Clark, but nobody on the Fever don't have that in between game. So that's why that they're right now they're a 500 basketball team. Because it's like a 50-50 chance if you're going to be able to get to the rim. You're going to be able to penetrate or even win the game shooting threes. And so that's why the parity. But the teams that separate themselves have somebody on their team who has a mid-range game, or who has a like a high percentage shot that they can knock down in the clutch moments. You see it with the New York Liberties. You know, because you got Breonna Stewart who can hit that mid range shot. You see it with the Lynx with Nafisa Collier. Her mid range game is just like it's on point. She could score in the paint, or even she can score on those elbows, and that's really what separate those good teams from the great. I know everybody is talking about, well, just let Caitlin Clark play fast. You know, let her run. You can't run against everybody. You know, and then when you don't run, your offense is predictable. Now you're in a half court offense. Now you want to go inside out with Aaliyah Boston, you know, and sometimes those opportunities might be limited. Like they can limit those opportunities with Aaliyah Boston. So you know, it's just all about her finding ways to score. I think is what's going to make her a great ball player. But that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next episode. Peace.